Hello, Rebel, and welcome to another stream on my channel tonight. It's a busy day for Full Metal, as we are covering the much-loved Luminous Light taking on Azathoth. I am joined by my co-caster, Captain Toucan.
That's not me, but still hi.
It's the Puffin, of course, it's his. We love him. How's it going?
Of course you do.
Right, we need to talk about these teams real quick, because of course, you know, Luminous needs no introduction. But it's not rats. What is going on here? This is... I know you're in a game, so you're not the best.
I already finished up, won the game.
I can't remember what playing qualifier they're in, so I'm going to have to find them real quick.
It's playing qualifier 8.
I'm glad it... Max would judge me, I don't think I can watch this back afterwards. Fair. Right, so we're going to get the teams up. It's slow, but we're there. First of all, the man who needs no introduction, Luminous. Not playing rats this season. He's re-rolled to vampires. Got some great names.
Yeah, I really love the theme.
Vladimir Putin being a block, mighty blow, tackle, vampire. That's really useful. That's a really good player.
Yeah.
Is it as good as a plus strength, plus move block? He's actually been talking about Frenzy next for this vampire as well, which I really like. I really like that. That's so good. That'd be such a good
Yeah,
player.
it will be hard to frenzy trap yourself with that.
Of course, he's got a Blodge Stepper, which is likely going to be on ball carrying duties, and he's got a Rookie, which is probably going to be on, let's be honest, hypno-gazing duties. His Thralls have kick and block, wrestle, tackle and minus move, and a minus move. He can't really afford to sack anything, because a big bench is super valuable for vampires, I think.
Yeah, especially if he wants to keep his bank to maybe scum some inducement.
It looks like he's been building up his actual stadium, because we've got a level 2 stadium on the go, which is nice. Now his opponent, he needs no introduction to us, but a fair amount of the league might not know him as well. It's Azathoth and his Phoenix Guard. We've both played him because he came out of our division. I think he drew me.
Yes, and he lost against me.
Well, that's not a recommendation, is it? But it's actually a really nice... You know, it's high elves, so they take a little while to build, but he's got a guard guy, a bit of a niggle. That's potentially a weakness Lumi might focus upon with his Mighty Blow. But he's got a thrower who's a bit fast and has dodge. Block catcher, Blodge step catcher, Agi 5 Rodge catcher, and then a couple of blodges with his blitzers, one of which has tackle, wrestle, and a block on alignment. It's simple, but it's a really effective team, and he does use it very well. So,
Yeah, I'm especially impressed that he managed to claim first place after losing one of his developed blitzers in the first game against me. So he definitely knows how to play the game and how to play his team.
And of course, elves are dangerous for vampires, because any mistake or any misplay from the vampires can very much just allow the elves to exploit that. And I tend to find that vampires, whilst very, very good on defense, are a weaker on offense, and elves are very good at putting in fast touchdowns to force the vampires back onto offense again. And that's kind of, I feel like with a player like Jean Grey, very much you know, something he can take advantage of potentially.
I mean, it helps when you can put the ball on a strength 5 vampire. That should be relatively hard to sack.
Well, strength 5, strength 4, it's all uphill, isn't it, really?
We'll see how it plays out.
Like I said, vampires have to just be very careful. If he picks off the Thralls, and I don't know. I think this is going to be... as soon as I saw this game go up, not only am I a huge fan of Luminous anyway, but obviously as a thought coming from our division, I was like, I have to cast this game. Thankfully, they're both wonderful human beings, and they offered to move the game forward half an hour to actually make it possible. So they have my eternal gratitude for that. And of course, there is another game going on over on Haringzod's channel as well. So, you know, there's a multi-twitch that Hinders put in chat earlier. I'm sure you can do that again for us.
There it is.
I
think the The one thing that might show missing here is a mighty blow on the elf side, because that would be really useful to actually target the thralls down. Because without mighty blow, it's actually not that easy to break armor value 7.
Game is live on inducements. Well, I think that's your key to exit the stage right, Azathoth. Who are you backing on this? Are you backing Luminous or are you backing Azathoth?
Oh, I'm backing Azathoth. 10B for the win.
I don't know. I find it so very difficult, very, very difficult to bet against Luminous. We have got the Very Dead Corpses and Freak Masons. That is the game on the other channel. They've just Luminous and Azathoth has just let me know that they're both moving out of inducements and into the game itself. So we should be able to go live with that very, very shortly. And there we are. Phoenix Guard Gourmet Governors. I'm actually really, interested to see how Larkstar's game turns out as well, so I'm probably gonna bring it up on my iPad on mute, just to have a nosy nose, to see what's going on.
I'm just having the multi-twitch up.
You don't have to monitor your OBS output and things on your other screen, so it's...
Yeah, that's true, that makes things harder, the hell iPad helps there.
The triple screen, it's sweltering heat, that could be problematic. There's just a singular babe coming through for Luminous. Fame going to Azathoth. Crowd are supporting him all the way. I do like an underdog story, right?
Always.
I feel like he is. I mean, I don't know Azathoth. I know I've played him. I know he's a very, very good coach. I've very hard fought draw against him. I was actually very proud that we actually managed to make it a draw. Given the state of the match, but Luminous is such a popularity around REBBL that it's difficult to not see Azathoth as his underdog, right?
Yeah, especially because most people just can't gauge him because he's a new guy, and it's really hard to judge. And Luminous is such a trademark that you would tend to go with Luminous, but I really think Azathoth has a decent chance here to win the game.
Yeah, it could be very, very good. Like I say, it's a lot of it will be on how well these thralls survive, right?
Yeah, and I mean it will be interesting with the sweltering heat that could shake everything around.
Sweltering heat does favour the elves, yeah, because obviously all elves are pretty good, right? Whereas if he loses a vamp or two, oof.
I mean, in return, Luminous can use the bench because the players on the bench won't get affected by sweltering heat.
Yeah, but you're not going to want to take the vamps off. It has to be said, Luminous noting as well in a chat channel there that Azathoth dropped a lineman to stop Luminous from going for an easy wizard. So he basically put it on with Luminous to say, if you want that wizard, you have to spend your entire bank. And Luminous just wasn't interested in that because obviously he's, if you're looking long term, you're looking for where you've got to go with this team. And let's face it, if you know you've got several more rounds of play-ins and playoffs and things, you can't afford to drop a bank on your first game.
Yeah, I was actually considering scumming a wizard for my first game, but then it was like, I'm at top 1000 TV, I will get spiraling expenses, and, well, where do I go if I win the first game and take some damage?
What do you do at that point, right? And there we go, the kick is away.
And very nice.
Well, all that discussion about sweltering heat is now irrelevant. I think both
coaches... it might still come back.
Yeah, but for now, both coaches breathing a bit of a sigh of relief there, I feel. I know I'd be happier that it's gone.
Yeah, always. It's just such an oddball to deal with. You never know who it will hit and how hard it will hit.
I mean, like, nice weather favours the vamps. I don't think nice weather favours either side. I think it just would have, with such a small number of such elite players, sweltering heat can ruin that kind of a team. Block being a very good skill there, but no armor break so far. That's positive results. Arm value 7 holding up for the second match we've seen today so far. But still early days yet, and as we say that, we get a stun.
I mean, a stun is something. But I think Azatov was hoping for a little more here.
I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? It's. I know it's not. That's not how it works. But you always look at AV7 as it should break. I should get casualties, and it's not as bad as all that. But it kinda, it's nice to think of it like that. This tackle player, I like his focus on that because that is one of only 2 on Lumi's team, and that is a valuable player for Lumi if he gets a shot at what some of these blodge elves.
Yeah, I could see also going for the kick guy, but the kick guy is obviously harder to knock down, so it makes sense to target the tackle guy.
Oh, the thrower has spooned the pickup. I reckon we might see, unless Lumi goes incredibly aggressive, we may see a couple of vanity passes coming out of this throw to try and pick up that level.
It could come in handy, yes, that's true. He only needs 2. And, well, 1 might come natural from the game, because I could very well see him need pass to score at some point.
Yeah, maybe he'll only do 1 vanity pass and then save the one for when he needs to make the play, but I would like to see a couple of vanity passes out of him to get that level. It's pretty safe on elves. I'd also love to see the Agi Roger get a touchdown to level 2. I think at this early stage with such a long road ahead of you, you kinda, part of your game plan has to be looking at how to develop your team whilst you're progressing.
I mean, that's while that's true, you also don't want to make a stupid mistake and roll a double 1 on the vanity pass and then lose the game on top of it. So,
that's very
but I
true.
in general agree. You still have to pick a decent moment to go for it.
Oh yeah, you don't just toss it at any time. What I'm saying, it's got to be on your mind because again, when you come out of these planes, if assuming you win, you've got to walk into playoffs against developed teams, and a couple more skills could make all of the difference in survival and victory. That's a bloodlust.
I doubt we'll see a reroll here.
No, I think we're just seeing a Thrall get bitten. Probably the blocker, which is unfortunate. Because I think he maybe was going for the Blodge Stepper to try and Hypnogaze open a gap to attack through, but...
Yeah, I think the biggest fallback out of the Bloodlust is here that he can't move the piece where he actually wanted it to move.
He could be potentially going quite aggressive here. It's a little bit scary, but he could be sending a plus strength, plus movement guy after the guard player there that is niggled. Removing that would change the story a little bit, wouldn't it?
I mean, the problem I see with that is that he can't really bring a Thrall into a great position to support the strength 5 piece there, and it could easily get isolated there.
Start of monster, yeah, it's really good, but it's taken a long time to get blocked.
And you don't want to end up having your vampire Bloodlust in a situation where he can't get to a Thrall, especially when it's your stat monster who's worth 210 TV.
Yeah, that has to be pretty much the worst kind of turnover in the game, right? Watching your vampire bail on the pitch. It's like, I have had enough. I am leaving.
I mean, the few times I've played vampires, if it was like turn 7 or something, I sometimes actually was okay with the vampire leaving the pitch, simply because I didn't risk an actual removal and I know the vampire will be back.
True. It depends. Sometimes you can afford it, sometimes you can't. I like that focus with the Mighty Blow onto the AV7 catcher there. Yeah, I think Luminous is going to continue to try and do this. Ignore the AV8s and try and focus on either the AV7s or the Niggle to try and get some removals. Yeah, it's a pretty nice roundhouse kick, actually. The animations are really good.
Oh, strength 5 goes in.
Yeah, he's trying to lock down this centre line of L's a little bit to reduce the potential movement, and I think he's trying to, as I said, the vampires are really good at forcing fast touchdowns. He might be fast, he might be strong, he's not very good at staring at things.
Now, if you get a knockdown on the Strength 5 Vampire, would you perhaps consider a big foul on it?
I mean, who are you talking to?
I mean, would you consider a foul if you weren't metal?
Would a normal coach consider a foul? You probably would. Oh, absolutely. Like, every time, like, if you're a vampire ending movement in base contact with a player, you might as well gaze. I fully agree. Fully agree with that.
Like, say, move in another assist, block it down with the block lineman now, and then you got a 4-assist foul.
I actually think, to be fair, yeah, that's a really juicy foul if he wants to go for it. It is going to commit a lot of players to it. He's actually, yeah, pushing it into his own line to allow a second follow-up block. I like that even more.
Yeah, definitely not a bad choice.
And he is. I think there's a foul coming, you know, I can smell it in the air.
He has to be a bit careful with the ball.
We don't need to foul. That's a massive knockout. Emmanuel Macaron is gone.
I mean, Lumi does have a babe, so he's probably not too worried about it, but this is a big damage here to the defense of Lumi.
Yeah, that is one of his best players. I mean, he's got, you know, 4 and they're called vampires. But and that's a casualty as well. That's a 2-player swing on turn 2. I can only imagine Azathoth being very pleased with this result. He has, however, left the niggle in contact with a mighty blow, so there's a certain amount of that. And also the ball. How do you make this ball safe now? Because it's kind of not.
I mean, you could just run into the backfield.
Run the catcher back, drop it back, chuck it to him.
Something like that, or maybe just remove the thrower back.
If he's not pleased with this, then he's an awful person. That's very true. It's a strong start, though. Are we going to see the pass? I think we might be seeing the pass.
I think he'll leave the ball there, because there it's pretty much out of reach of any of Lumi's players.
Pass it! Pass it! Toss it to the guy, get the SPP, you know you want to. You're thinking about it, he's thinking about it, you can see him thinking about it. He's considering it. He's gone. He's not doing it. But he was thinking about it. See, he's got his friend there. They're just chatting about how he wanted to pass the ball but couldn't afford to right now. It's like, well, I was going to go for it, but I figured someone might shout at me.
I think the pass there was actually acceptable if he had moved the catcher first.
Yeah, I fully agree.
I think he might have played this a little too fast.
I'm worried for him as to how he's going to cope with the tightening net. That's a lie. It's never too early for a vanity pass. Oh, hello. He's gone.
I mean, especially early on, you can actually afford to throw the vanity passes.
And that was, for the record, the niggle there.
Ooh.
Doing the business. So that cost him because he burnt Mighty Blow to break the armor.
Yeah, but I believe you trade well, I'm not sure if you can call it a trade, but you trade a nickeled lineman with guard for a strength movement vampire.
I mean, the guard was actually his best tool for dealing with the vampire, so the fact that vampire's out makes life a little bit easy. No, the Mighty Blow got through the armor, the niggle made it a KO, not a stun. So actually it was a combination of the niggle and the Mighty Blow that got that player off the pitch.
Ooh, and more bloodlust.
He's not training his vampires at the random bar. It's not. Oh, he's gone for a blitz.
I might have considered coming around from...
He's left that tackler completely exposed. I would consider potentially punching that.
Well, The Quesadilla knows how to get bitten.
He's giving, yeah. Quesadilla getting chewed on.
Look at this, more bloodlust.
Oh god, he actually re-rolled that into another bloodlust. I can't imagine he's happy with that. These vampires are not random boys vampires, are they?
Would he have taken the block there instead of the Hypnogaze?
I think if he hadn't bloodlusted, I think he was probably going to toss a block, but you cannot risk after you've burnt the reroll 1 in 9, because that is essentially a removed vampire. If that happens.
I think overall for Azatov is in a really great position here. Already 3 of the vampires out. He has a 2-man advantage.
He doesn't even need to blitz the tackler. He's going to. Oh, he's going to surf it, potentially. Well, that's not surf.
He's just pinning him next to the sideline, which should be just fine. But he can set up another block on the rookie vampire. And just keep the ball in the back, throw a nice vanity pass if he wants to.
The wrestler was prone for a bit, you are very right, Samuel. Good point. But he could have, pinned him ready for the surf. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And also, that guy's 14 out of 16. I like using Rachel Summers, like I said, because he is one Kaz away from a level. And if you can find that random Kaz, another level would be really nice. Get Blodge on that guy.
Nice knockdown there on the vampire, basically ensuring that the vampire will move when proc another bloodlust roll.
And yeah, vampire's big weakness as well, obviously, is the movement 6. So when you get them knocked down, it really does slow their team play down quite a bit, you know?
I like this screen.
It's definitely time to vanity pass.
This is a really good screen here. Well, it might still be possible for the vampires to break through.
He's going for it. There we go, we like that. Things that Metal likes. Bit of a manty ass. One more. Hand it back. Give it back. Give it. He's thinking about it.
I like that positioning. On the I'll give it back. Yeah, I like that. Good choices here.
So we can actually see that he is very much setting up for the vanity pass.
I also like that by pinning that thrall next to the sideline, basically ensured that it was the non-mighty blow vampire doing the block, or not. At least if he wanted to get the thrall back. But the mighty blow vampire will go after the catcher.
Yeah, I think we're going to Mighty Blow the catcher. You've got tackle. It's not a bad shot, and he's actually got the thrall in there as the blood bag. If he does get another one of these many bloodlusts he's suffered so far this game. Vampire's just not behaving.
I think this time he does. Let's see if he can find a knockdown. He can. Do you reroll that?
I feel like it might be time to start. This is such a very valuable player that he's hitting. He has decided and been punished a little bit there. That's a burnt reroll.
I think I would have stepped to the right there just to make the vampire roll a 2+ to get away.
Yeah, I think I like that, or forcing him to stay where he is and potentially opening up to being a block. This is like a golf broadcast of the game. How do you mean, Dwiggy? It's hard to get hype when, frankly, not much is happening. There's been a lot of key removals, but kind of, I mean, like, a lot of it is very... Ah, well, yeah, I can't shout too loud because my family is in bed as well. At this point, yeah, I can only do so much. I like this focus on the thralls, though. This is... I might re-roll that, you know?
I think it's fine. It might be the turn where Azatov wants to move the ball through the line of the vampires.
I predict a potential swing over onto this flank over here. Because two of the vampires are quite separated away from that side. You know, he could really move a lot of his players into the other half of the pitch and potentially outpace the... Fair enough. I will try and add a bit more a bit more hype. But when something happens,
I think the one problem I see with moving through now is that Luminous might be able to force the high elves to score a little early. Now, vampires aren't exactly famous for two-turning, but you still don't really want them to give the opportunity to.
I maintain that you're okay with the vamps being on offense because vampire offense is not nearly as strong as vampire defense. The big worry, of course, being after you score, it does very much open up the chance that the super vamp will come back. Push. That was a very smug laugh for a push. I've got some crisps, Grizoot, if you want me to eat some crisps for you. I can do that ASMR for you. In Twitch it is possible to get... It's not possible to get their chat, but it's possible to get the stream chat printed on the screen. But I tend to find it's very distracting, so I steer away from it. Lumi, I feel like he needs to actually force something, because all that's really happening is he's getting his thralls picked off, and I don't know what else to say, man.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't hate blitzing with the Mighty Blow Vampire on the wrestle piece, and then moving him just into the backfield to threaten the ball, because the threat alone would force the High Elves to do something, either move the ball up, or react to the Vampire.
I do kind of feel... Oh god, that's 1-9. That's not the play. Very scary turn coming up for Luminous, because everything that could fail could see a Vampire leave the pitch if it goes wrong. That wrestler as well. Like, it's surprisingly how good wrestlers are. Yeah, no, I really don't like targeting the wrestle piece, because if you fail Bloodlust at this point and then target the wrestle piece and you get it both down, well, that's just you're done. You're off the pitch.
Hey, if you get wrestled down, can you then still bite the thrall if you're next to it?
No, because you're on the floor. You can't bite the floor. You can't bite from the ground.
No, I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, wrestle will crush out vampires. Like, oh, hello. Thank you, Grizoot, for the little bits there. That's what, 15 bits? Very much appreciated, dude. Thank you. I like the hypnogaze of the guy in his backline.
Yeah, it denies the pass to it, so he won't be scoring.
He can't try anything cheeky, is what we're trying to say. But
I mean, he's not in scoring range anyway, but still, it's
not so much about scoring range, it's about outpacing the vamps, right? Because he is faster than a vampire.
Not sure if I like that move too much, basing up 3 elves and then going for a hypnogaze. I mean, if you base up, you might as well hypnogaze, but...
Well, you know how it is, Villy. It's, you know, an overlord's work is never done. I like that base, because... I mean, look at the spread out of the elves. The only tackle is completely separated away. And that guy's blodge step, so he's basically forcing a POW to try and bring him down. And also focusing the tackler really good as well. I mean, the guy was literally drooling on himself. He'd been hypnoed out of action. And suddenly gets clocked in the back of the head by a fast-moving vampire. So, not the best day for him.
I think I still would have preferred Sea Dumpling to stay one more square to the left, so the elves actually have to move a piece to even get the 2 dice, while still marking down 2 pieces that don't have dodge.
Yeah, that's kind of fair. I kind of don't disagree with that. You said the left, so you're watching from behind the elves, right?
Yes, I'm watching. Oh, you're watching from the other side.
Yeah, watching from behind the vamps. I like watching the attack down the screen rather than up the screen, but that's just me personally. Once again, focus from Azoth. That's a double skull. That's not the 1. That brings him down though. Focus on the tackle. No damage done.
Oh, everything looks so different now with the view switched.
That's a change of perspective. That's actually kind of scary now though, because while Luminous is on 1 reroll, Azoth is also on 2, and he can't reroll anything, so anything that fails this turn is going to potentially leave the ball exposed.
I mean, everything ball considered probably has an inbuilt reroll anyway.
What I'm trying to say though is, with the ball currently where it is, it's actually 1 dice blitzable from Quesadilla. And that would just be the hero play, right? Random Thrall charges down the pitch and smashes the throw in the back of the head for a 1 dice. You don't want to see that happen if you're Azathoth.
And Azathoth isn't really in the position to move the ball forward much, but we're going for it anyway.
Vanity pass! And he gets to the level. Phoenix, Son of Agonor, is leveled. So I reckon we're going to swing over to the right side of the pitch towards this tackle player and kind of cage up a little bit.
Notable, we are in range of the vampires. You could break a cage with the Hypnogaze.
Well, he's got to, amongst other things, disengage without failing any dice. So obviously you're probably going to go with Marcus Phoenix first because he's got dodge. But this next dodge is actually a little bit scary. With a 1, that is still a 1 dice from Quesadilla. Quesadilla still has the play on the table to be the hero.
Now we still need the lineman to block the way of the vampires for the easy Hypnogaze.
Yeah, you can still Hypnogaze your way in, but suddenly a little bit more difficult now. But with there's 3 vampires spare, so it's quite easy to get 2 of the vampires to Hypnogaze the 2 cage corners here, and then run in your Mighty Blow vamp in the middle, and that's not really stopping it, I don't think. That helps.
It does help. I mean, the Lodge Step Vampire is now free to move, and he could Hypnogaze that lineman, which could allow the fresh lineman to go into Hypnogaze the actual cage corner.
Yeah.
But again, then you have to move all your 3 vampires, and you at least will have a hard time actually retrieving the ball, even if the scatter is good.
Yeah, but bringing it down is a start, right? Crowding it up, bringing it down. You're suddenly putting the elves on the back foot, which is... They've kind of been in the driving seat so far. So I don't hate that. I just love watching vampires play. I think it's quite interesting.
Certainly not really like any other race, maybe except Kislev, but still Kislev do it in a different way than vampires, even if the playstyle is similar.
Yeah, it's a very tactical game watching vampires, I think, in a way that it isn't necessarily with other... Yeah, obviously the game is incredibly tactical anyway, but like no other race is as good at just like attacking a defensive position as vampires, because you know, with other races, you've got to actually actively go through like cage corners and stuff, whereas vampires can just stop the cage corner from existing. And that, I think, leads to a quite interesting match to watch.
Yeah, especially when you consider the vampires have to think about every single step they want to take, basically, because every time you move a vampire, you potentially remove one of your own players.
You need the buddy system in action. It's kind of scary as well. I think he actually has to use Poutine to clear off Praetor Phoenix. This not getting me an armor break from the earlier Mighty Blow is actually massive. Hypnogaze works. That guy doesn't exist anymore.
Do you try to fish for a POW? Well, he took the other lineman. I'm not sure what that exactly accomplishes.
Oh, it's just punching a lineman, dude. It actually makes it, what, 3 days? If he hadn't followed, he did follow, so... I think we might just be ignoring tackle and just doing 2 pluses away. Oh, we're just going to roll push.
Now he has the fresh vampire free, and the Mighty Blow one will have to make a dodge, but that should be doable.
This is suddenly very scary though, because either of these players bloodlusts. There's no support over there, and that would remove the...
That's why I didn't like the first block from the fall, because if you use the first fall who did the block on the... Oh, that's the one.
He's gone. He re-rolled the bloodlust. Is that 3 consecutive ones? Oh no, he passed the bloodlust.
Yes, he rolled the bloodlust, re-rolled it, got the move, but then rolled a 1 on the dodge.
Which actually saved him, if you'd have... Because he passed
he made the second bloodlust roll.
That's what I'm saying. So the re-roll saved him from leaving the pitch there.
But to my point earlier, if he used the first fall to even push the blodge piece, he would have had the second fall available to move into a position where he wouldn't have needed to necessarily re-roll the bloodlust.
I think Azathoth has positioned quite nicely. I'm quite impressed by his setup here to deal with the threat of the vampires, because vampires are a hard race to play against. Like I said, they play so very differently from everyone else that you never quite know where the attack is going to come from and how it's going to come and what players you're going to have to use next turn. So Azathoth is set up well to put players in the right places to cause problems for Lumi.
I mean, certainly he played it well, but I think there were a decent amount of ones for Lumi that made his life even harder.
Yes, I can't disagree with that. There's been a certain amount more ones than maybe we would have liked to have seen if we were Luminous in this situation.
Especially if you consider that the elves aren't exactly failing much either. Like, nearly all the dodges are successful.
Yeah, the elves have not won nearly as much as Luminous. Luminous having burnt all 4 of his rerolls. Like I said, it's just not a bash slobber knocker. It's just an interesting game to cast from a more tactical perspective than the usual setup 2 dice blocks, throw 2 dice blocks, remove players.
I think at this point, Azathoth might be safe enough to stall this out for turn 8.
I think he's got the full defense. Lumi can't really catch back up, and without rerolls, you're asking for a lot. I think it might be better to try and focus on some damage. Lumi seems to agree. Oh.
I mean, he doesn't quite get it.
It's a stun. It's not the one, really. The Vampire trying to bully out some of these players as well. Because you don't need to blitz if you stood next to them. Right? Yeah, he's definitely going to have to try and threaten the stall, as Simon says in chat.
I mean, I think the elves should still be able to stall this out. They have basically all their 10 players available, and just putting up a 2-layered screen should be enough to stop the vampires from getting through, especially if you consider that basically only the Mighty Blow vampire is available. Well, now the Bloodstep could be available too, but there isn't too much Hypnogaze available.
I might take the block there, to be honest, to just try and do a little bit more damage.
Come with me if you want to live.
I mean, if you want...
with a 169 viewer host, that is a little bit massive. Welcome everybody coming in with Andy. We're currently casting a Rebel playing game. It is Luminous Light and his vampires taking on Azathoth and his high elves. How the devil are you all? Now these vampires... Sorry.
Oh, well, go ahead.
These vampires are actually moved up close enough to be a threat now.
Yeah, that's why I like to dodge out from that elf instead of doing the block, because if you do the block, you have 2 vampires completely out of position.
I don't disagree. I think he can still protect the ball, though. There's a lot of free elves. Not in like the Dobby sense, of course, but in the actual unmarked, not out of position elves. You know, I think they've got a fairly good chance of even maybe, you don't normally like to see it, to take it to the sideline, as it were, but maybe he could even, with this many free players, take it to the sideline for a screen and just set up layers of a defense so that there's no way the Hypnogaze can get in, especially without rerolls.
I think he doesn't need to hack the sideline, he can just hack the end zone. I think that's the safer play, because vampires are still agility 4, and you don't want to see that 4+ dodge in to serve your agility 5
you've
player.
got to really, if you set up enough of a defense, it's very difficult to do. But I hear what you're saying, I agree. Medicinal Carrot there saying he was about to go looking for this game. Well, Andy found it for you, so good on Andy there.
And for what it's worth, we also have another playing game casted right now by Herringsword. If you want to check that out while watching our stream, you can take this nifty little multi-Twitch link to catch all the Rebel playing action.
Are we gonna? I like this a lot. This is the anti-vampire attack cage.
Yeah, as I said, the 2-layered screen should be enough to protect him, because I mean, the one problem I see is the vampires could remove 2 there, the 2 top corners of the cage.
It's quite a bit of dice, though. You've got to think when he is, of course. Oh, that's a forcing a dodge as well. There is no rerolls for for Luminous, so this is a little bit scary. Like I say, I'm a big fan of the way Azathoth has dealt with his positioning here.
I agree. I think it's a very good cage. I think I would have just liked a few more, maybe one or two squares, the whole formation to the south, just to get a little bit further away from all the vampires.
Hibniger is
the vampires roll more once. That's not how you break an elf cage.
During this drive, lots of vampire wands. Lots and lots of vampire wands. Unfortunately. I don't know. I'd like to see Luminous's dice equalise a little bit in the second half, because I think Azathoth's played very, very well, and you can't take that away from him, but Luminous has had to deal with a lot of unpleasant dice.
I mean, his biggest concern is probably that the Strength 5 Vampire comes back in those 2k overalls.
And he does have a Babe, to be fair. He did go in for a Babe, so there's a fair chance with the 2k overalls. You know, it's more likely than not. I think he might go after the tackle here with his Mighty Blow. Or he might just punch what he's in base contact with. The Vamp Price. This guy, yeah, Lasagna's just not doing anything really, is he? He's gonna get smacked out of the way. It's not a great defense, but there's not a lot you can really realistically do.
I mean, there still might be a way to get a 1 dice, but it would involve like 4+ Hypnogazes.
The Vampire Price, when your stuff works, your team is unfair, then you self-destruct. Fair argument, well made. He's actually just going for the alignment. I like the fact that he's tagged the alignment as well onto the Mighty Blow Vamp to force more dice, but that does mean he's potentially going with the Blodge Stepper to try and just be a pain.
I also like the call of doing the block without getting the roll in case you roll a Bloodlust, because at this point Azathoth will score next turn anyway. Ooh.
Okay, he's just casually putting a Blodge Stepper on the ball. That's a thing.
I mean, the Agility 5 should still have a reasonably easy time to get out of that, but it at least forces a dice roll.
It's turning it into a concern is the point, which is I like it. It's something. I mean, you can just do a 2+, yeah, but 1 in 36s, they happen.
So if you're Azathoth here, do you throw, for example, the 2 dice with block on the tackle throw?
I think you do. Actually, there is. It's a one. That is an unskilled. Oh no, there's a blitzer here. It's fine. You can do that. You can throw it with Simon Phoenix, so that's fairly safe.
I like the call of doing the blitz first because that's more important.
And he's still blitzing with Rachel Summers. He's done that a lot to try and find that 2 SPP. So I kind of like that he's actually looking towards, you know, what development he needs later in the day as well.
Doesn't find the knockdown there. Do you have the players to maybe even serve here?
Well, it would be difficult because Hamburger, the tackle thrall, would be a problem.
I mean, you would give up the score, but
It's not going to do it either. He's just...
Here comes the dodge.
Yeah, well, you know... There's only so much misplay given that he's got Agi... You know, the sidestepper couldn't go anywhere that it could make that not a 1 in 36. Sometimes you've just got to toss a cube, right? The elf's back. That's the guard back in play. This is the big test. Does the Babe work? Not on the Super Vamp. The Super Vamp is still down.
We will get a second try, though.
Yes, but that's a massive result. The fact that he's now waiting for a 3+ to see if it comes back. You know, Azathoth is going to be really happy with that situation. By the by, if you haven't seen it, guys, this player is spending some time on the sidelines, and he's a bit good. Like, as far as Vamps go, that's a bit good.
Do you think Azathoth might be respecting the potential 1 turn a little too much here?
Is there a potential? It's a Vamp 1 turn so difficult, especially without the movement 7. Like, movement 6 1 turn is so difficult.
I actually think I dislike him exposing his good players here to a potential Mighty Blow tackle hit.
We could have a Riot, of course.
Yeah, I think moving them back, I like that a lot better.
Sidestep can do tricks, especially if you... It's actually weird, because if you crowd up like that, Sidestep can do more tricks.
Yeah, I think this setup is the right call.
I think, yeah, you don't really have to overly fear the Vamp fast score, do you?
I mean, even if it's a 2-turner, you are fast. You can react to the scoring threats the Vamps can throw out, and they are only movement 6, so they will have to do some GFIs.
Big shout out to Mike the Machine 3 and Freya's Far. Thank you for the follows, guys. I'm glad that you're enjoying the show. Yeah, I think I don't really like the super back defense because I mean things like blitzers and stuff do happen, and it feels very kind of like
Yeah, I really like the call to now move it a little bit forward because you're still out of blitz range, but you're still able to react a little bit better to things that might happen.
I like that comment from Voyagari in chat. That it is, of course, Vamps are a team that are almost as good at removing your players on the LOS as they are at removing their own.
I think I'd only take the Mighty Blow tackle Vamp hit here if I can avoid it. He has plenty of block thralls.
Yeah, there's enough safe block hits from the thralls. That being said, though, you know, if you could find a Kazan just in True Donut, that would be a nice start to his career, right?
Well, that's true, but I don't think you want to take that risk in the playing game necessarily. That said, he still has a bench, so...
I mean,
and he could still decide to just eat the Bloodlust.
To be fair, it would be less of a start to his career to find a Kaz on a Thrall.
Yeah, looks like he might just attempt the Vanity Pass.
Yeah, I don't hate that, and lots of punching. Yeah, if you do the Vanity Pass as well, the advantage there is that it doesn't matter if you Bloodlust as long as you do it as your last action of your turn, because you run off the pitch and then run back on because it's turn 8, right?
And we got a Blitz! Will Azatov act on it? I doubt it.
I mean, he can come screaming in and attempt to attack Vladimir Putin, but I don't know if it's worthwhile.
I think he at best could get a 1 dice, and it would involve at least 6, well, some GFIs.
He has got a reroll.
2 dice with few more real. Yeah, he decides against it.
And Voyagari is coming through with great commentary from the chat as well. I'm enjoying that a lot. Man seems to know his vampires and his elves, of course, because we did see him in action this week. I do believe. I'm assuming
yes.
Voyagari is Voyager.
I'm pretty sure he is.
I'm gonna make that guess.
I think it's now more than 48 hours since the game happened.
It is. I was right. Voyager 1 is Voyagari. Or just Voyager I. So I suppose it's probably Voyager 1 again, innit?
Mighty Blow Vamp fails to knock down on a 3 dice.
Makes sense. Yeah. No, that vampire's been kind of poop. Not being the best removal game. Would you foul something? I don't think you can you? He's got a bench. You can't foul.
I mean... Yeah...
Oh gosh, hang on. The Thrall's tossing the ball around. Ah, he's got a 5 out of 6 Thrall. Well, he's still got a 5 out of 6 Thrall.
I think I would have considered the foul.
I don't know. I'm not... If you haven't done any damage to a team by half time, fouling with a team that desperately needs its players like vampires is always back. Well, Lumi's breathing a sigh of relief there. We're back to a 4 vampire team. That's very nice.
That should make the offense a lot easier, because now he got actually a lot more tools to do stuff.
It's just that extra Hypno Gear is a game changer by itself, right?
Yes, and not to mention the Strength 5.
And the Movement 7. That little bit of extra pace when you need it is... It's surprising how good going from Movement 6 to Movement 7 is. I think a lot of coaches can underestimate how good it actually is.
I rolled a movement up on the second level of my agility Kislev Blitzer, and I was very tempted to take it. But the piece is just so slow to develop by itself.
Yeah, Voyager's entirely correct. It was It was the ease, the best possible result I think Azathoth could have had out of that. He scored a Kaz. It doesn't hurt Lumi's bench in the slightest, of course, because Lumi did have quite a fat bench. But now Vamps have to go on offense, which they don't tend to like, and they've done no damage.
It's not the best half it could have been, but it's certainly one you don't say no to.
Yeah, I suppose there are worlds where you could have lost a lot more thralls, right?
Yes, or maybe even got rid of a vamp.
Getting rid of vamp is difficult though. I mean, they are both AV8 and regeneration and apothecary.
True.
There's a lot of stuff to protect them. Yeah, getting the ball off them is difficult, but then again, there is an Agi 5 wrestle dodge player on Azathoth's side, so potentially, if Lumi leaves even a slight gap, that guy could be all over that, and I would uphill a vamp with wrestle every single day of the week. Why would he dislike plus move on vamps? I don't know, man. I mean,
I would have considered it if you already rolled a stat up on the first level, because again, vamps aren't exactly the...
A double dose of luck for Lumi. I think he's gonna be happy there. Not only does he catch the extra reroll, he doesn't even have to pick up the ball.
That's certainly useful, and he might need that reroll if he keeps rolling ones at the paces he did so far.
You had a movement 8 vampire. That's pretty insane. That's pretty insane. That's as fast as a werewolf. That's really good.
Yeah, but it's still say on topic of movement vampires, you'd probably prefer the level up rather later than earlier.
Hang on. Is that a mistake? He's left the super vamp on the bench. I was just going to go look how good it was, and it's on the bench.
Well...
Pour one out in chat for Lumi right now.
I mean, I could maybe see leaving one vamp off the pitch.
Not that one. Not that one.
Yeah, if you do not that one, but...
I imagine he is not happy. But yeah, I love the idea that when he levels again, Lumi's planning Frenzy on him. Movement 7, Strength 5 Frenzy is gonna be such a terrifying player. After that first half, I think, it's unlikely, and it's very difficult to claim that Lumi is tilted, because Lumi is ice cold usually. I think that's just a genuine mistake. Maybe he skipped. He doesn't have cutscenes on or something, so he didn't see the wake up animation. Because Lumi does play with animations off. Obviously, because we're casting, we always play animations on. I know a lot of folks who do stream their own matches tend to turn them off. So if without animations on, he maybe didn't see him stand up and run into the reserves box. It's not Cyanide benching the best player as much as when you've got a full team on the field and your players wake up from kickoff, they run into the reserve box. So it's actually not cyanide as much as just the general. You know, it's not like they took his player off the pitch. It was always on the bench because it was KO'd. Robots don't make mistakes, Metal. Well, glitches in programming can result in robotic mistakes, pretty bad. But yeah, I think that's absolutely a situation where a player with animations turned off has not seen the wake up.
I think the call here from Azatov to just put up a L screen, take the one hit on the free thrall he'll get, and just slow down the vamps. Let them come at you.
Will be fixed in coming up there. I'm assuming we mean Luminous and not the cyanide logic there. No, it'd be,
cyanide updates might ruin more things than actually solve.
Cyanide update. We've benched 14-man Wood Elf team. We've benched your Treeman and both War Dancers for your offensive drive. You're welcome. Yeah, it'd be Lumi version 11, surely, because we're coming up to season 11 after the playoffs. To pooch and import, yeah. That's basically what all Azathoth needs to do, is just blitz a Thrall every turn and pray that his armor holds versus the Mighty Blow. Whoops, it my cage gone. Oops. Quick snack. That was actually the old rule, was off for a bite. It's not called that anymore, it's called Bloodlust. But it used to be called off for a bite.
That would be pretty long on the screen.
Yeah. That's a failed 3+. That's not. That's probably instantly going to become his blitz target now. To free up that vampire. Doesn't want to be giving away free hits. Unnecessarily now. But that's... Yeah, elf screens are so difficult to deal with if your Hypnogazers just don't work.
So what do you think Lumi was trying to do here? Trying to get to a catcher so he can blitz him with Mighty Blow?
Maybe. Maybe he's just trying to throw a cat among the pigeons. Triple deep elf screen. It's a deep dish pizza filled with elf. He's going for the tackle. And I don't hate that because, of course, that does allow him a follow-up block with the Thrall, but as an addition, you know, if you get that one tackle play off the pitch, instantly makes the Vampire with the ball so much safer.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, he now needs a power to knock it down, but I'd still throw the dice with Gazpacho.
I mean, it should be good enough to simply get him off your players, because, you know, Thralls can die easily.
It seems a bit spooky. That's a judgment call. It is a little bit spooky. That's not a POW. But it is a disengaged player. Can he even... Feels a little bit open on the back end.
Yeah, might be a shot in here, but I don't think Azatov needs to go for it. I think he just move his green, step back, and, well, tell the vampires, try again.
He might even toss his guard in there and throw some blocks on the LOS here, which is the new LOS, I suppose, is the front end of his cage. It looks like he's going to do just that. Try and pick off some more of these free hits on the Thralls.
Of course, knocking down your opponent is also a decent way to slow down their offense. If they need to stand up, then they can't move far.
Especially if they need to stand up inside a tackle zone when you're AV3 Thrall. I'm sorry, AG3 Thrall. Not the best.
Ooh, getting another stun.
Hey, Lumi's Thralls have survived fairly well. at the same time as obviously, you know, we're talking about Lumi rolling a lot of ones. His thralls are standing up to the punishment.
Yeah. Can't complain too much about that.
It's difficult to complain. But there's a lot of elves actually ending their turn based here, which not necessarily the best scenario for Azathoth. He's going to give up some hits. I mean, he stands up that Thrall, Lumi gets an instant 2 dice with Justin Trudeau onto the guard player, and that guy's niggled, so that's scary.
It was definitely an interesting decision here to go for it. I think in a position where he didn't really need to go for it. But on the other hand, he is putting quite a decent amount of pressure onto the ball.
Yeah, he's definitely slowing down the vampires, because now they're actually having to wade through elves, but if it works for the vamps and they get some removals, like wading through elf bodies, I think he's happy with that.
I mean, if he gets the removals, so far he hasn't.
There's that. Do they even move, or do they just punch stuff? I mean, there's a lot of tempting blocks to throw, and he's aiming for the AV7. I like that. With Mighty Blow.
I mean, if you're Lumi, you're probably aiming at overtime here. You're not really or do you aim at scoring early
No,
and trying to turn over elves?
You want to do... I think at this point, yeah, you're engaging in the elf grind. You're trying to remove as many elves as possible and toss as many blocks as you can, bring some elves down, do some damage. Because you can actually free up a lot of... I mean, OT with Vamps is okay, because he's currently got 5 rerolls. He hasn't burnt a reroll yet. So as long as he's very, 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 very careful with his reroll management, he should be okay. Picking up that extra reroll really helped. And we've seen Random Boy come through. I mean, I know Random Boy cheats because he's Random Boy, but we've seen him come through overtime with vampires. It did help that he rolled basically 1 Bloodlust for the entire overtime, but that's not the point.
I mean, Lumi still has 5 rerolls in the bag. There should be some rerolls left over for the overtime.
I think it's quite scary. It's quite a scary position to put your ball carrier in now as to where you actually protect it here. Because this guy who's down technically has an uphill on the ball. I know you've got to literally roll a pair of 6s, but there's 6s on the dice. Which I like to remind people as much as possible. You know, just because it requires 2 6s doesn't mean there isn't 2 6s on 2 dice.
Yes, who's better to tell you that than me?
God damn it. Who's better to say that than Spoonybot? Where's Spoonybot? Give us a holler out in chat there.
I mean, Spoonybot, I believe, rolled even more than only 2 6s to do that, to do what he did.
I'd be really tempted here to foul that downed player with Gazpacho. 3 assists, 1 negative assist, plus 2 to foul on AV8. I feel like... but I mean, it's different between dodging into the cage and then needing boxcars than it is just being able to stand up and do boxcars. You know, there's a lot less dice on standing up and blocking that vamp down uphill than it is dodging in to block the vamp down uphill. And
I mean, the player doesn't even need to uphill to cause some problems. Because if there comes a blitz in for another base and that guy stands up, things might get complicated for Lumi.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even need assist. He could disengage the rest of his screen and just YOLO the vampire, and he'd still have a complete elf screen. No, he's not. He wasn't in a spot where he could safely play around boxcars, but I think the argument remains that leaving the ball carrier base with the down player is a scary scenario.
It's a risk you don't want to take if you can avoid it.
I think what we're actually going to see is probably more careful, considered player. He's going to reform the screen. I think he went for a scrum, and whilst he didn't get punished in terms of armor breaks and stuff, Lumi did show him that he's currently in a great position to deal with a scrum, and just cleared it all off. So I find it quite unlikely. Oh, hello.
Yeah, I think I like the approach of screening and taking your one blitz per turn a lot better for the elves than committing to the Crumb, because in the Crumb you can lose your players and you can
Wow, we saw a human
worsen
catch a
your...
triple power mummy carrying the ball in another league. That's pretty incredible. Yeah, no, I think it may have been... I would have liked to have suggested potentially that was a test of Lumi's defenses.
Yeah, maybe just a little testing the water. How does he react if I do this?
Blood Bowl can come down to a lot of those choices, and it's in 11 versus 11. Although he's got a KO, so it's now 10 versus 11. Sometimes it can be very helpful just to see, do a quick test. How does my opponent react when I try this? And then you get that data, and suddenly, you've got that available to you when you plan your next attack. Strategic lying down. It's like getting in the way.
I mean, that's also why I'd argue it can help a lot to check out the last game your opponent played or the last 2 games your opponent played when you're playing someone, simply to get an idea of how he reacts to certain situations.
And I mean, sometimes you just really need to purge and have it and vomit, and you could just watch Spoonie Bard's last game. I'm never going to get over just how incredibly excited McNaughton and Chubstep were when that happened. Actually, that guy on the floor, Rachel Summers right now, is super irritating for Lumi. He's right in the way of where if he wants to attack, he's actually got to step back quite a lot of steps to move around that or go the other direction completely. That player lying down, quite good.
Yeah, I actually like the call of leaving him on the ground. Lumi has shown that he's not actually committing to fouls. So the player isn't in danger and the screen stays as it is. It isn't needed to have another player in the screen, so you might as well don't risk the one.
Yep, and like I say, if your opponent's not going to foul you, lie on the floor. It's the safest place to be during the match. And also, there's obviously the dream where I've seen it before, where a coach has went to click on a place on the pitch and accidentally fouled because there was a player there that they didn't spot. I don't think the bright yellow armor necessarily the best for blending in onto the pitch, but I kind of like how Lumi attempts to leave the Mighty Blow player in contact with an elf at the end of every turn as well. On the whole, if they fail something before they dodge that out, I get a free Mighty Blow hit. That's pretty good.
I like that he does it while still protecting the Mighty Blow player, because the Mighty Blow Vamp always has company to assure that there isn't an easy block on him.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really strong player, and I really enjoy watching Lumi because almost everything he does on the pitch, apart from this guy, right? But ignoring that, and that's the last time I'm going to mention it for a while, everything Lumi does is so incredibly considered. That's why we call him the robot, yeah? He's just one of those coaches that you feel like when you play against him, he kind of knows what he's going to do a couple of turns in advance, and it can be quite daunting.
Don't ask the question.
It was KO'd, it woke up, it never moved off of the reserves, so Lumi's going to be getting it in the neck for that for a while, unfortunately. KO'd very early in the game. Didn't come back till turn 9. Because Lumi plays with animations off, it woke up, ran into the reserves, but he didn't see the waking up animation, and clearly missed that it was awake. A very, very yeah, I know, Basmans. Yep, that was what I was aiming for. Well done. I thought that was quite good. Yeah, I was quite proud of myself for that one.
Hey, that's the most important part, that you're proud of yourself.
You're throwing the game, Lumi! Yeah, well, It wouldn't be me if there wasn't like a really bad pun or a dad joke in there somewhere, right? This elf needs to do a dodge or he's getting surfed. The health gang is here. There's a lot of elves in the house supporting Azathoth. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's difficult to wrap your tongue around the great old one names, you know?
I've got no idea actually how to pronounce the name. I've talked to him during our game, and he is actually German. So the name doesn't actually particularly sound German either. So no clue how it's intended to be pronounced.
It's Cthulhu. It's one of the old gods. That's a great terminology, by the by. He looks profoundly indifferent to vampires taking an early score. And yeah, as Superfed says, they're literally just like escorting them towards the end zone. It reminds me very much of how Larkstar played Halflings against Sage last season, where he basically just set up all of the big guys in like an honor guard of Sage's team down the pitch. And ooh, that's a bloodlust, and that may leave a good guy. Oh, that's not the one either, is it? Do you reroll that? I think you do, actually. You don't?
I'm actually a little bit surprised he went after that guy and not the lineman on the right side.
He's staying in contact with him, though. I think this may be one of those, oops, I've just eaten my cage corner kind of moves. Oh, that was his tackle. Ouch. He just killed his own tackle. This makes life so much more difficult for Luminous. I think he's intending to move the cage to kind of towards the 12-yard line. But my word, that is... Yeah, the Vamp's got tackled, but the Vamp's about to get hit in the head.
I think I still would have preferred the blitz on that Hypnogaze guy, simply because you then can cage up further, closer to the touchdown zone.
Mighty Blow Vamp finally finding the removals that matter. Oof. Yeah.
I mean, he KO'd the Thrall, he KO'd the Elf. He's pretty even.
Are we going deep? Surely not.
Maybe just an attempt to stop the Elves from screening up again between your cage and the end zone.
I think this is very scary. Very, very scary.
And more ones, do you re-rolled it?
I think we're okay. I don't know. I think actually this is now very horrible.
I think you have to re-roll it because you can't afford to have another one of your players on the ground.
Lumi does agree. Oops, yeah, my other cage corner. Yeah. The real big thing is now, actually, he's gotta roll GFIs.
And he has a base cage
No, he
corner.
doesn't. It's fine, it's fine. He doesn't. It's okay, I can count, honest. Lumi can count. He's a robot. Don't forget onion ring as well. Don't you hear that when you forget your onion rings? Had a nice burger or something, and you got your onion rings on the side, and you're like, oh look, I've used all my dipping sauce, and now I've got onion rings.
Well...
Never count on stream metal, you noob. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the Elves are overall going to be very, very pleased with the where this match has gone. Would we take a 1 dice with the blocker against a rookie lineman? Just because it's safer than the dodge. It's a 2-up.
Might as well bring in the other guy who's just lying on the ground.
Good old onion rings. See, there's those box cars we were talking about. They're on the dice. Yeah, this is where this is where you brawl. This right here is where the Elves full action brawl, and he's also left the vampire, the Mighty Blow vampire, utterly exposed. I've never forgotten. No, I haven't. I'm a man who loves his onion rings. What can I say? Is onion rings the new cockroach milk?
No. Oh, we got him.
Oh god, we really got him. Oof, he's protected the place so well. First time he doesn't. Oh, and it's a minus movement. I think you've got to Apple that, right? Yep. Snap Apple there. Now we're leaning on a regeneration, but that is the mighty blowout for the rest of the drive. Not that it's been particularly great, but minus move on it is bad news bears, really.
And really, the Highers probably won't get another injury on one of your good players.
Probably, maybe. You hope.
I mean, it isn't likely. So you can feel relatively safe using the apple there, I
You know,
believe.
if he's willing to toss a lot of dice, there's a surf on Justin Trudeau.
Well, we might be willing, but we rolled a double skull.
Well, that's both down.
Well, yes.
I think you eat that.
It's a skull for both.
He does eat it. And no breaks. We could have set up a surf there. We didn't manage that. But I think he's, on the whole, okay with the final result. Lumi is quite exposed. I think we're going to see the touchdown. And that's going to give the Elves a 3-turn answer. I don't know how you make the surf anymore.
I actually don't think you can afford to do the touchdown right now.
How can you afford to not?
You still got 6 players you can work with.
Assuming you don't eat your own players.
Well, there are only 2 vamps, so the chance of that is relatively low. But I think if you
What's
score
the difference,
now...
dude, between relatively low and none? We're talking about Sace on Zord stream. Ah, yeah, there we go. He's just, yeah, he's going for the not score. I'm a little bit screwed.
He will have to roll some dice with those falls, and not rolling above
That's
us, that would have
bloodlust.
been really helpful.
Do you reroll that?
I think you have to
I
at
think you
this
have to.
point.
He does. Because he needs this spot filling on the 20-yard line. Oh god, that's a 1 dice skull. But no damage. Yeah, Lumi doesn't... I don't think Lumi knows how to not play for a win, Superfed.
Yeah, if really think if you score here, you give the elves way too much room to score back on you. While there might be a possible sack here, it won't. It will involve quite a few dice.
Yeah, I don't know if you necessarily need to. I don't know. This is all gone a bit wrong for Lumi, and that's unfortunately the nature of vampires. I think is that sometimes it just goes a bit wrong.
Yeah, and when you then make a few minor mistakes, like leaving a certain vamp off the field,
We were not talking about that anymore.
You said you wouldn't talk about it anymore. I never said such a thing.
We're done with that. That narrative is finished now. Stop talking about it.
But my point was that, especially in those situations, those minor mistakes really come to bite you, especially as a team like Vamps.
Oh, Bacon's injured. I think we need to fire Azathoth from the league for crimes against Bacon.
Also, Azathoth now actually got through the bench of Lumi if the KO rolls go bad.
Yeah, that's enough. That's precisely enough to deal with the bench, actually, isn't it? If one KO stays out, that's full. Was it 30 men or 40 men for Lumi?
14 man for Lumi.
I like a big bench on Vamps. Ooh, getting the wrestler tagging on the ball, that's quite good.
Not sure if I like that. That's a 2+ dodge from the vampire to serve your wrestle piece.
It's dice. You know it's dice. I'd surf it.
Oh, no, that makes it harder.
That makes it much harder, yeah. Not impossible, though. South Crown's Bacon sounds like Metal is the Fling representative. Yeah. I almost rather get sacked than hope for T16 recovery than just Guild Elves 2 turns. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that either road, Voyager.
Nah, I think you should, as Vamps, you have a few tools to deal with the potential.
Hey, you can still surf that wrestler
Two-turner.
fairly easily. Hear me out now. Stand up, Gazpacho, 1 dice block into Praetor Phoenix, and then that allows you to surf Phoenix Icky and follow up into a touchdown at the same time.
Do you really want to risk a 1 dice?
That's a 2+. If you're willing to risk a dodge, you're willing to risk a 1 dice. The advantage as well, of course, being that it allows you then to put a body into bite range if you bloodlust with the vampire. Because you actually get to punch him for a 1 dice, push him there, you follow up with the thrall, he gets to then 2 dice him off the pitch, and you follow on. It's a 2+. If you're willing to dodge,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
if you're willing to dodge that vampire into the end zone, you're willing to roll that block. It's the same odds.
Well, the dodge has an inbuilt reroll.
Well, there's that, but stop being boring.
Oh, we're making the call to stall this out.
Oh, he's bloodlusted. Oh, God. This is...
Ow.
Oh, good God. Past the
We could
bloodlust,
see a
failed the
vamp
dodge.
surf here.
How do we not see a vamp surf? This... It's short of a double skulls. That vampire is utterly pitched into the crowd. There's... Actually, no, there's one spot.
He needs to fill in the
No, he's
corner.
got Agi5. Agi5 the dream.
True, true.
2+. Boom. With a reroll, because he's got dodge.
I think this is the upset, if you want to call it an upset.
I think this is it. Lumi has had just horrific look. This we could actually surf the thrall on the way. In fact, don't even need the Agi5. Let's just use the thrall. Wait, he can surf the other vampire. Don't take that block.
Don't push the vamp. Don't push the vamp.
If he'd have waited and dodged a couple of elves out, he could have filled that gap and surfed the other vampire for bonus points. I mean, it would have been stylish as all hell, but there we go. There's the dodge. It's a 1 dice, by the by.
I mean... Yes, it's a 1 dice. Push is good enough.
Exactly good enough. But he could have surfed both vampires had he set up better there.
Yeah, but do you really care about the second vampire surf?
Yeah, I do. Alright?
You do, but if you are in the play-in situations, would you rather just...
Chat, would we have rather seen 1 vampire surf or 2 vampire surfs? Both. Yeah, see? Chat 1, 2.
Yes, but again, my point being...
No, your point... My point being you're wrong.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point, which is almost always right, but... You see, as the playing coach, you don't give a damn if you hurt that second vamp or not.
Does the plus strength guy count as an honorary vamp surf? Well, technically, he never got on the pitch to leave, so I don't know.
What is the catcher doing? Are we just passing the ball to him, where he isn't reachable anymore?
This is your only score. If you want to score again, it's all on Phoenix, Arizona to do a dodge and move up the pitch. There's no feasible... That's a 1. He's going to toss it. He's going to go for the vanity passes. He never got the Kaz. He's going for the vanity passes. Ah, he just handed it off. Wuss. Wuss. Yeah, Arizona needs to do a dodge.
And he failed.
Well, he doesn't want to...
I think that's game.
Yeah, I'd have absolutely done the vanity pass just so you could get it handed back to you and do the vanity pass again, because then you'd level. Rachel Summers, who's been trying to level all game.
Well, to be fair, there's still a pretty decent chance you could see the vampire serve. But again, for Azathoth himself, there isn't really any benefit in the second vampire serve.
Yeah, at that point you're just being spiteful, right?
Why did we... Well, okay, he wants to serve.
He sent a message. I can surf you too, is what he's saying.
The problem with that message is now is your own vamp on the ground that can still be served.
Oh, you got a Kaz. Surfer attract stat. Nothing. I think he might surf the vamp just off the back of the fact that Lumi just forced... Ah, here we go. He did the dodge to stop the vamp surf. Smart play by Lumi.
Well, the frost surf is still available.
Yeah, but who cares? I'd much rather see Rachel Summers taking her final attempt to Kaz something.
I like how we handed off to the blotch piece only to now hand it off back
Yeah,
again.
because he's doing a vanity pass, isn't he?
Yes, but he should have done two.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And that's it. Yeah, we could see a foul. But I don't take Azathoth for the person who goes for the turn 16 foul.
He isn't. I've spoken about that already.
And he does get a really nice MVP there.
Yeah, he's actually got the level in Simon Phoenix too. And the vampire, the Bloodstepper, does grab it. Foul the stun thrall. It doesn't really matter, it's turn 16, I don't care. Foul and stuns on turn 1, turn 2, turn 8. Less good. Foul and stuns on turn 16. Who cares? Just do it. You might as well. Why not?
The Lumi only got 5 SVP out of this game, which sums it up pretty well.
It does a bit, doesn't it? Look at the difference. It's not the best, is it? As far as knockdowns and stuff. Actually, the elves rolled rolled 15 ones and only 9 sixes, to be fair. Although then again, Lumi rolled 33 ones. It's an entirely different kind of... I don't
also,
know. Yeah.
If those 15 ones, if 10 of those are on armor dice, then...
True. I think there's some mistake. There's definitely a solid mistake that Lumi can take away from that one. We know that what it was there. We'll not belabor that point. But beyond that, it was just really solid play from Azathoth. I think that really helped, and then some ones in the wrong place. We are instantly going to go over, and we're not going to deconstruct that too much because, frankly, we talked just enough about that to cover everything. We're going to instead jump over on Harring's channel to finish off the Larkstar versus Philippo game. So pop yourselves over there and say hello. Congratulations to Azathoth, who is Odonchelis in chat. Thank you, Hindi, for the callcast.
Always happy to help out.
Thanks to everyone who's hung out and watched. Let's all go say hi at Harring's. Watch the end of that game and the last play-in match from tonight. Thank you so very much for watching. You all stay classy now. I'm going to go over and join Zord for the end of the cast, dude.
Sure. I'm going to go over as well.
Hello, mate.
Knock down on the zombie. Metal's here.
Me too.